Hi there, I'm Paul Kirtley, founder of the award-winning Frontier Bushcraft and author of Paul Kirtley's blog, the leading source of wilderness bushcraft advice and information on the net. If you're in an emergency situation in the outdoors, if you're lost, if you're stranded, if you're in a situation that may ultimately become a survival situation, what do you do? How do you prioritise? Well, that's what I'm going to share with you in this video. It's raining, you don't have the right equipment, you're lost, one of your party's injured, nobody knows where you are. What do you do? How do you prioritise? What you need to do first is deal with any medical issues, any first aid that needs to be done. That's your priority. If somebody's going to die of a blocked airway or bleeding, they're going to do that before they die potentially of hypothermia or lack of food or lack of water. If they're bleeding or if they're not breathing, that's going to kill them first. And once you've dealt with the medical issues, and I'd strongly recommend anybody going into the outdoors, particularly off the beaten track, to have some good first aid and medical training. Once you've dealt with the medical issues, what you need to remember is plan. That's P-L-A-N. And what they stand for is protection, location, acquisition, and navigation. And we're going to look at those each in turn. One of the biggest risks we face outdoors is hypothermia, particularly when faced with wet, windy and cold conditions. Our first line of defence is our clothing, and it's up to us to manage our clothing properly by ventilating, adjusting our layers and regulating our activity. Protecting yourself from environmental conditions isn't just about the cold. You also need to take care to avoid dehydration, overheating or getting too much sun. The highest priority is likely to be shelter, particularly if anybody's injured. A good shelter can provide cool shade or protect us from cold, wet or windy conditions. Fire is very important for staying warm outdoors. We can warm ourselves directly, we can heat a shelter, we can produce hot drinks and hot food as well as dry our clothes. Therefore, firelighting is one of your most important skills. Make sure you practice various techniques before you really need them. A shelter and a fire makes for a very protective combination. It's a combination that will keep you alive in conditions where you might otherwise perish. And wherever you are, as the sun goes down, you'll appreciate a fire not only for its warmth, but also its light. Plus it's a fantastic boost to your morale. You don't always sleep well outside without sleeping kit, but a fire makes it more bearable and will warm your bones until the first rays of sun in the morning. There's a plane going over, maybe it's looking for me, but I don't have anything ready. I don't have a signal fire, I don't have anything to signal with. I'm wearing drab clothing. Nobody's going to see me, not in all of these trees. So you need to have some way of being seen ready before you start looking for food, before you start looking for water. There's no point having loads of food if people can't find you. Do everything you can to maximise your chances of being seen by searchers or passers-by. Make sure that you can actually see the searchers when they come looking for you. If there's more than one of you, take it in turns to keep watch. Next comes acquisition of resources. The most important is water. Sometimes gathering water is obvious and easy. Other times it needs more ingenuity. Then comes food. And unless you have a weapon, your best bets are carbohydrate-rich plants, small game and fish. The greater your bushcraft skills, the more you'll be able to improvise from nature, tools, materials and other useful items. It's never been easier to reach wild and remote parts of our planet, and we're doing it more and more for recreation and adventure. The question is though, what do we do when things go wrong? Walking out to safety is commonly most people's first thought, but there are often advantages to staying put. These include materials, equipment, food and water that might be carried in vehicles or other modes of transport. Provided you told someone where you were going, people will know where to look for you. So in many situations, it pays to sit and wait for your rescuers. And remember, covering rough, unknown terrain can be arduous at the best of times, so be realistic. Ask yourself, are your navigation skills up to it? Are you used to negotiating this type of terrain? And will you cope out in the open if the weather deteriorates? Or will you put yourself into an even more desperate situation? So there you have it. Remember, plan: protection, location, acquisition and navigation. But before you even start with plan, remember to deal with any medical issues, any first aid that needs to be done, and then protection, location, acquisition and navigation. Hopefully you never have to put that into action, but if you do, I hope that serves you well. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, then please go over to my blog at paulkirtley.co.uk, where you'll get 20 more free videos just like this one, full of lots of free tips and advice on bushcraft, survival skills and things to enhance your outdoor life. That's over at paulkirtley.co.uk. And of course, if you've enjoyed this video, if you think your friends will find it useful, then please share it with them too. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.